Well, good day, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's very different video on YouTube. It's a gardening one at least, and I'm not actually talking about my backyard garden as a bit of a tour around thingy. I'm going to be straightforward talking about the nasturtium seeds and why they have become so relatively successful. I've got my gloves on because I'm going to be straightforward plucking out some seeds from the ground, of course, but also anywhere else. And I can tell you what, guys, there's a nasturtium seed. If you look very carefully, there's one right here. But overall, as I'm just seeing a massive grove of nasturtium leaves everywhere, those disc clover-shaped looking things are an indication of just how amazing, and not only just amazing, but also how lush, fertile, and also abundant this season has been. I mean, despite the dry and hot weather we had so far, in fact, it was almost like a drought if you ask me, nevertheless, we have just actually had a massive bumper crop season of nasturtiums, and that's actually very good to know. It's interesting with nasturtiums, they are also really good at deterring aphids, as what many people have said to me about these plants. If you're trying to grow crops, and if you've got like various pest insects and that sort of stuff, well, guess what? The nasturtiums are always happy to help. And not only they're very happy to help, but what's remarkable is, because of this purpose, they are also one of the most simplistic of all of the plants that you can grow. In fact, they're one of the easiest to grow. But I'm going to straightforward show you a few tips in this video on how to grow nasturtium seeds successfully. And there's a slug. Get out of the way, slug. You can't interfere with what I'm trying to grow here. And I tell you what that guys say, there's a lot of dirt and soil right over these things. It's always best to wash out all bits of soil and dirt if you want to straightforward plant a lot of nasturtium seeds. Maybe it's best not. I'd probably say no, because I think the best time to do it is just around at least, I'd say springtime, because if you do it too sooner, then the seeds will germinate too quickly, confusing on that part where you might think it's spring when it's actually winter. And I'll tell you what, when I looked underneath from this ginormous, oh my goodness, when you look at this giant entanglement of nasturtium plants, they are everywhere. And I've been finding so many nasturtium seeds everywhere, all matted up in shafts and straining the whole soil system. It seems like it's crazy, isn't it? We've got a bee pollinating right here on one of the flowers. It's a lovely fiery sort of bloody coloured yellowish orangey looking flower. Very nice looking thing. Look at that bee, it's pollinating all the way. How nice is that somehow? And actually, yes, let me just see what else do we have. Quite nice we've got bees pollinating in this area. It's so beautiful to watch. But what I'm actually after for is, as I've been straightforward stunned and amazed by the huge abundance of nasturtiums, man, they're everywhere. I tell you what, I think one of the best times is not just late summer, but you can also do it as early as, let's say mid to late summer. I think they do it from mid-summer, which is July and August. And then they do it lately during September and October, which is what I'm making in this video. It's on the 30th of September, so it's the very last month of September. And wow, there you go, the leaves have just straightforward been plucked out. And there's a siren blaring out in the neighbourhood here. Crikeys. Strange enough, yes, so many nasturtiums. They are everywhere. Oh my goodness me. In fact, there's a big bountiful amounts of nasturtium seeds and flower buds, which I don't think they're going to really happen, because I can tell you what, by the time we get into winter, I'm pretty sure them flower seeds are going to be straightforward dying like so. And as crazy as this sounds, hey, there you go, we've got a nasturtium flower that's about to die off, and they will develop and turn into seeds. As crazy as this sounds, a lot of nasturtiums do become seeds once you start to produce as much flowers as you can. I'll tell you what, guys, I can grab as much as I can from a big bunch full of nasturtiums. In fact, they are so abundant. They just grow entangled so much so that they are literally everywhere right over my backyard garden, which is just amazing. Crazy to think of it, but hey, boy oh boy, I should be very appreciative of what I've got. I think one of the best recommendations is that if you're picking nasturtium seeds, make sure they're very big. If you try to pick up small ones, well, maybe they're not going to be highly successful. That's what I assume. But yes, I'm just picking off very highly successful seeds, carefully lifting up like so. There's a lot of background noise right here, and it's crazy to know of how much nasturtium seeds have I been picking off. And I've also grabbed a garden sieve because there were some nasturtium seeds. Oh, one of them has decided to run away a bit. So, as you can see, there's been a huge bumper season of nasturtiums. In fact, there's been an abundance of them seeds everywhere, and they're highly everywhere. Seems like the bees are straightforward confused of what I'm doing here at the moment. And I mean, that's very amazing to see why. Yep, I think I've frightened that bee away, and there's a poor looking sunflower who doesn't look like he's gonna, he or she is gonna stand, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna die off by that next moment. Every nook and cranny as you look around, there are nasturtiums everywhere. I can just see just a few more of these. There you go. There's actually so much of these as well too. I often use a garden sieve sorry, I just realized, what is that bird? Is that a seagull? That's crazy. I wonder what that seagull is up to. It looks like it's straightforward. It looks like it's just flying and dive bombing other birds. Hopefully it's trying to chew out a bit of bread. I think that's what it was trying to do, that seagull. Right, I think it was an old baguette, and there's another one. There's another seagull right here. Crockies, they're everywhere, man. What's with the seagulls taking over in this video? It seems like they're all hungry for whatever they can really find. Right over in the backyard garden. Look at that, there's one more here. I think all what they're trying to find is baguettes and bread. How crazy is that? But anyways, yes, the soil has been a little bit damp so far because, well, we haven't had enough rain, but we just had a lot of frost. That's a sign of what autumn is going to be like. The frost does kill a lot of plants, but that's straightforward. One of the normalities about this time of the year is that you get a lot of frost and chills. That's a sign of when winter is about to hit. Right, obviously I can see some more sneakeroonies going on here. I can see a little bit of nasturtium seeds. They are straightforward everywhere. They are dangling a bit. And if you get 2 or more conjoined seeds together, it's best to split them apart individually because seeds often straightforward perform much better when you've also taken out the stems as well. It's best to do that as well because they know that when you don't remove the seeds, the plant will struggle to germinate. In fact, it will struggle to germinate because obviously when there's a seed here, it makes it very difficult for the plant to germinate when it's already there. And in fact, there you go. I'll just split one seed apart. It's always best to split seeds. Yeah, there you go. You can also shake them as well too. You can also shake the plants to remove the seeds. You can shake the plants to, hopefully they can just disperse. I was going to say disperse or disperse. And once you disperse or disperse all the seeds, man, that hopefully you get a very nice prediction of what they're going to come out. Maybe, who knows? They might straightforward germinate as early as winter, but I'd probably say it's best dressed to do it in spring. There's a lot of noisy cars here in the background here, eh? I often grab the sieve and I just flush out any debris which is not that very necessary, including dirt, soil, compost and that sort of thing. And there you go. There's actually quite a lot of, there's a lot of nasturtiums everywhere. They are just weirdly abundant. There's just so many of them. Even the teeny tiny ones as well too. I've still got a big packet of nasturtiums from Poundland as well too. That's why I'm straightforward making this video. I didn't actually plant so much of it. You can definitely see why. There's been a huge abundance of that going around here. That is a massive crop yield of nasturtiums. So I tell you what, guys, I don't know how long it's going to last, up until winter, I think. Just a massive bumper crop season, I tell you what, guys, and there's even more as well. It just shows you there's actually more than one individuals of nasturtiums growing everywhere, and all I'm seeing is giant clumps of seeds. Hey, you know what? I mean, heck yes, there's actually quite a lot of that going on here. The more you look, I think the bigger the leaves, the more you're going to really expect big yields of seeds, especially how small they look. It's probably best to wait for them when they're actually really big. Oh, there's a cosmos here, which looks like it has started to flower, but unfortunately the plant has started to droop down a bit. It's not the greatest thing to see. Oh, look at that. Look at this here. Oh my goodness me. What is going on underneath here? That is just spectacular. Whoa! Oh my goodness me. That is just, oh my God, what a dream. What an amazing feeling this is. Just look at what I've just grown here. And in fact, there's also some lying underneath the dirt. There's just so much of it lying underneath the soil here. It's probably best to do it with a sieve so that you can separate the dirt away from the seeds so that they don't actually mess with the seeds here. Mind you, if it's in a dry environment, they'll start to turn brown. I'm not sure if these seeds, I don't think they're edible for birds. That's what I'm probably guessing here, but look at this. Look at this right here, guys. There is just, wow, look at that. Wow, that is just completely amazing. I'm seeing a huge abundance of seeds here. Amazing hyper amounts of resources here. That is just massively big and amazing. Oh, at times. Just very, very big. Just a massive abundance. In fact, I'm also seeing more seeds right here on the other side. There's actually just so much of it. Just crazy when you start to see that. Like, look at this. And I'm going to put it right over into the sieve because seeing this massive, what's with the pigeons doing here in my backyard garden? Just flying away? Oh my goodness me. Just a huge abundance of them. They are just everywhere as hell. In fact, I should say the word heaven and not hell because this is just amazing. Just outstanding. Unsurprisingly, they actually do make very awesome, gardening sort of essentials, I like to call it. They really do make gardening essentials. They really do make a very good one, obviously. And I'm just shaking out some of the, in fact, I'm actually shaking out all of the soil and the dirt that gets trapped and caught out. You can also use water, as long as it's clean. But I don't think they're going to germinate. It's probably best when they're dried up. Hopefully, I suppose so. And there's a pigeon right here. Is that a wood pigeon? I think that's straight for what it was doing. It looks like it was just straight for foraging for a bit of corn. I think it's pigeon mix that I just added. There's no squirrels this time here because obviously squirrels have a much better advantage of taking out various different bits of bird food. But I've just selected pigeon mix. I think that's alright from the time being. It looks like this pigeon is actually going up to the other part of the fence. I wonder what's it going to do next. Is it going to come down on me and attack me? No, I don't think so. It's just straightforward, docilely waiting for a bit of food, or waiting for its chances to be not sighted by a human being. There you go, it's gone. Very much so. Right, I'm going to continue what I've just left off with. And actually, if I look around, there's just, wow, look at this guy. There's just, my goodness me. Wow, there's just a huge, oh my goodness me, this is like a giant factory. All I'm just seeing is nasturtiums everywhere. There's just a big clump full of these seeds. They are just everywhere. I tell you, when the leaves die off by winter time, maybe I'm starting to see how them seeds are coming up together nicely. And I tell you, that has been a giant factory of these seeds. That is just amazing. I can't really resist of how many seeds there are. Just incredible. Whew. Oh, that is just amazing. There you go. Look how many seeds I have finally decided to salvage with. Hopefully, I think they're all still wet because of the soil. It is also still wet as well. Still fresh, wet and green. It's always best to just straightforward put them in the dry environment. Once they go dry, they will start to turn into a very fresh looking, or actually unfresh looking brown colour. In fact, it goes in a similar process to how leaves lose their colours at this time of the year, and that being autumn. In fact, look at the amount of flowers and leaves. They are just towering right up towards, look at this, they're actually towering up about nearly a third, in fact, nearly 2.5 thirds of the hedgerow. Like literally, there's some of them right here, but most prominently right over at the top. Just incredible. What a massive bumper crop season am I seeing at this point here. And I can see a couple of pigeons waiting for a bit of a takeaway to be served at this moment. And I'm hoping it's not raining here. Fantastic to know. Sometimes the skies can be quite deceiving, or should I just say, looks can be quite deceiving in so many ways. Maybe I should become a meteorologist. That's what I've done in previous videos. And there's some more bits right here. Look at this, guys. Can you believe that there's more nasturtiums? I feel like I've just given birth, or actually, I feel like I must have made... Look at this. It feels like those plants have gone through a maternity sort of period. In fact, look at the amount of babies I've just straightforward picked out. Just so many nasturtiums. Make sure you don't deteriorate the plant. Make sure you don't straightforward freak out. And there's a rat. Oops! And I've just broken off the water dishes. I think they're all plastic. Thank goodness it's quite at least it's straightforward. Not too sharp at least, but it's very brittle somehow. Okay, right. I'm gonna straightforward pick off as much stuff right here. In fact, there's just so much right here. Look at this, guys. There's just a big amount of nasturtiums. What is this? I feel like I've just created a giant emporium full of nasturtiums. They're just massively everywhere. I know these things are going to die off by autumn time, but you can just see how much am I just straightforward getting. Look at this. Look at that. I can just sieve out some of the soil. In fact, it's not going to sieve out all of the soil here, but boy oh boy, what a massive bumper crop season am I actually seeing here. In fact, there's just an abundance of these things. They are just everywhere. Hyper successful in so many ways. Fairly much proud to possibly say the least. And actually, if I look right over here, look at this. Look at this, guys. I can't believe this. Just so much of it going on here. Just incredible. I could honestly take out some of the weeds as well. Remove any excess unnecessary bits of vegetation around here, including the stems. It's always best to take out the stems, but I'm not going to because I can tell you what, as my body is so tired, look at this, just so much nasturtium seeds. It's wonderfully incredible somehow. I don't think, not all of the bits are going to straightforward be taken out. I can just straightforward use that there, I think, because obviously I've just got a carton which has got holes, big enough, actually small enough for the nasturtiums to stay, but big enough for unwanted bits of soil to be flushed out. I'm going to shake this bit here. Tell you what, it actually has become a wonderful paradise. There's some tomato seeds underneath right here, actually some tomato fruit right down here, but look at this. No joke here, all I'm seeing is nasturtiums. Big clumps of it. Large amounts of it. To flush out as much soil, shake your plastic carton, like so. Plastic container, whatever we're going to call it. And there you go, look at this. Just split the seeds together. Just make sure they're all nicely split. And hopefully, you don't have to worry about, look at this. You don't have to worry so much about the nasturtium seeds being faulty. I can just take out the stems and the seeds together. And look at this, I've done a threesome. Look at that. Rarely have I seen like 4 seeds in one plant, in one area here. This is just amazing. Look at this, guys. And I'm actually seeing, normally they tend to have 2 or 3, but look at this. There's a small seed amongst 2 big ones. Look at that. This is just relatively incredible. Look at that. Wow. In fact, I'm actually seeing so much of it around here. It's just so many of them. It's wonderfully incredible. Very hard to be this resistible, guys. There's just heaps of it. There's just too many of them. I think everywhere I see is, look at that. There is just a big, oh my goodness, a big clump full of seeds. They're hardly everywhere. And there's a pigeon right there. I wonder what's that pigeon doing. Looks like it's foraging a bit of food somehow. Mind you, that's the best part about gardening. Hopefully nature can straightforward follow you around once you start to do other things. In fact, I'm also seeing a bit of snail action around here, which is quite nice to see. In fact, obviously, this year has also... Oops, sorry, I'm vlogging here. But yeah, it seems like that my backyard garden has been very much surrounded by lots of nasturtium seeds. And there you go. I've actually, okay, I can't see where the seeds are. But I'll tell you what, I don't think I can show you handfully, but there you go. This is what I've got. There you go. Just a handful of nasturtiums. Wonderful, isn't it? Okay, as I was saying, it has been quite a bit of a bad snail year. In fact, it's been a snail's bad day out so far obviously this year, because I think so much so, we've actually had some really dry weather. In fact, hot and dry weather. In fact, the number of snails and slugs has been relatively so bad this year because of what I've just noticed so far for this year's summer. But they're actually doing fairly well around this time of the year, and that is autumn time, because moisture is starting to bounce back again. And incredibly, as funny as it sounds, although we already had lots and lots of rainfall during the first early half of September, it seems like as we are in the second half of this month, it feels like the later part of it is going to be dry. Crikeys, I don't know how crazy and chronically dry is it going to be like. And there's just big clumpfuls of nasturtiums. They are just everywhere. That's a massive clumpful. I can hear a bee. And I'm back again, vlogging, and there you go. More nasturtium seeds. Isn't that quite ridiculous seeing so much of it? But hey, I feel very proud of what I've planted. And I can tell what, guys, there's just so much of it around here. I think if you go underneath, you'll probably find much more bigger crops, bigger yields of the same thing. In fact, I'm actually seeing bigger and bigger abundances of these things. They are just everywhere. And it's all good, really, really nice. In fact, obviously, there's just so much of it. In fact, oh my goodness me, the more entanglements of nasturtiums I'm getting, the more it just proves to me of how much have I been spending lots and lots of time to plant these things. Just shows you how impressive the number has been. And again, I'm not deteriorating those plants. I'm just taking out bits which have already been. Look at that. Look at this. Just a big clump full of nasturtiums. They are just abundant and everywhere in this whole backyard garden. Oops, and I've just taken out a flower bud. That's not very necessary to see that. Sorry about that. But anyways, yes, as I'm harvesting so much of them for the rest of winter and spring, man, I'll tell you what, seeing that is just oh so impressive to see. That's impressive. That's massive. I tell you what, guys, hey, just a massive abundance of them. And there you go. I've just picked up a few bits of dirt. Look at that. I'm not going to pick all of them, but that just straightforward proves to you of how massive this season has been. There's been a higher than normal sort of crop season of nasturtiums. I tell you what, guys, hey, I feel really, really proud of what I've just grown so far. Just stunning, isn't it? There's been lots of it. Super incredible. I mean, I could tell you what, I could just spend here all day long plucking out some of the seeds right out from the plant, but also some from the ground as well. And yeah, you can just see why there's been a huge abundance of nasturtiums here. And actually, yes, I haven't been out in the backyard garden for that long period of time, because it seems like that as autumn is fast approaching, in fact winter is coming, yes, you can start to see why have I been so busy in my backyard garden. And boy oh boy, look at this. Just a massive abundance of nasturtium seeds. And I'm also seeing a snail here. Quite curious of what species of snail this is. Oops. Sorry, that wasn't necessarily killing that thing. But yes, snails can be a bit of a pest. And what is that? Oh, look, it's an earthworm right underneath. It's a perfect snack for little robins and that sort of thing. Birds and all. Yep, tell you what. Actually quite amazed of seeing how much nasturtium activity is there. Just impressive somehow. Incredible. Just so much. You can definitely see why there's been a huge abundance. I can tell what the guys say. There's just a massive season, massive bumper crop season for all of this to happen. Very, very impressive. And in fact, very large. I'm going to go towards the other side. Oh my gosh, look at this. I tell you what, it's going to be an hour long, and I'm just pulling apart leaves and things. Not the greatest experience, but I tell you what, look at that. Everywhere I see is nasturtium seeds. from every nook and cranny. There's just so much of it. Yep, then is that a dead flower or is it just a leaf? I can't really tell. So there you go. I've just been straightforward plucking out so much nasturtium stuff. And I can pluck out this big chunk of it right here. There you go. I'm actually just straightforward deterring leaves and things. And I can tell what, this huge abundance of, oh my goodness me, there's been lots and lots of seeds of the exact same plant. That is just wonderful. And I can tell what, it's amazing. And guess who's came to play? I'll finish off at this part of the video. And strange enough, is that a rat or is it a squirrel? Quite crazy to see it, obviously, hey? Oh, that was a rat. And it's just gone already. So the camera has actually gone relatively blurry this part of the video. But anyways, that is about me, straightforward plucking out so much nasturtium seeds. So if you really want to see more videos like this, so it's been rough and ready. But anyways, please give this video a very good like, subscribe for more from that videos in the future. And as always, thanks so much for watching and bye for now.